it's not just not doing the bad, it's also doing good. And it's not good enough to just say, no, 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 you can't. You've got to say yes, yes, yes sometimes. And this is what I'm talking about. So the cows are eating through this gate that raises and lowers, right, to accommodate the bedding buildup. So the bedding's just building right on up here. And as it builds up, of course, it's anaerobic because the cows are pumping out the oxygen. So it's anaerobic and fermented, 3, 4 feet deep. And we add whole shelled corn to it. The corn then ferments in this bedding pack that's acting as a nutrient diaper, so that then when the cows come out in the spring, we turn in the piggerator. All pigs have a big sign on their forehead, will work for corn. Right? And so they then steep this fermented corn in this bedding pack and aerate it and go through there like a big egg beater and fluff it all up and oxygenate it and convert it from anaerobic to aerobic compost, which is what we want to apply on the soil. Now, I'm sure all of you are familiar with like big municipal windrow compost piles and all that sort of thing. Well, welcome to the new age. Here's letting animals do the work. The reason farmers don't like to do large-scale composting is because the material's handy, right? But when animals do all the work, we're using appreciating infrastructure to do our work. And of course, the pigs love to do this. We're not asking them to do something they don't like to do. They love to do this. This is hog heaven. Right? And this completely changes the scalability, the profitability, scalability of an in-source, on-farm source utility program, because we're not having to recapitalize the things that rot, rust, and depreciate by volume. And so when we're using appreciating infrastructure that doesn't take petroleum, we don't even have to steer them. They steer themselves. We turn them in, they go over the corn, we go back to the house, bring our, Live Green Expo stuff that we picked up at all the food today, okay? It makes a wonderful quality of life to free us up to do other things while these pigs are doing all that work. And they, of course, they just dig and plow, and it allows them to fully express their pigness. And that's something that we think is really important. We think it's extremely valuable to create a habitat so the biological life forms that are under our stewardship are allowed to reach their physiological expressive zenith. You see, we live in a culture today in which the question of how to make happier pigs or how to allow a pig to more fully express its pigness is never even asked. The only thing that gets asked is how can we grow them fatter, faster, bigger, cheaper? And intuitively, don't we all understand that that's not a very sacred or noble goal? I mean, if it were, that's why the average NFL football player is dead at 57, because when your neck is bigger than your head, you're a freak of nature, and nature beats you out. And so when we're just growing, I've got some football players here today. So when you ask, how do I allow you to express your distinctiveness, then you actually get full performance and meaning from that critter. You see, we want to ask, how does that pig or that chicken or that cow or that tomato or whatever can fully occupy and leverage its gift and talent in this world? Because you see, it's by asking, when we look at our biological community as just as our culture does, as just inanimate protoplasm to be manipulated however cleverly hubris can imagine to manipulate it, we will disrespect life. And a culture that views its life from that kind of arrogant, manipulative standpoint will begin viewing its citizens the same way. And other cultures the same way. Well, suddenly, we've created an ethnicality. If we want to have a culture that preserves and honors and respects the Maryness of Mary and the Thomas of Tom, it starts by respecting and honoring the least of these, because that's what creates a moral framework on which we respect and honor the greatest. like, eating food with a conscience and, dining is a moral act. Okay, so the pigs are doing all this work, and they're fully expressing their pigments and turning all this wonderful material into compost. It's quite surreal on a cool spring morning when the steam is rising from all the compost and the pigs are there. How many people have saunas for their pigs? It's really the coolest thing. All right, so that's why we do it, because I don't know if cow pies have dollar signs on them in Texas, but I'm sure they do. And the reason we do all this is because the most important thing we can do is utilize and not waste our manure. That's our fertility. That's nature's fertility recycling program. And one of our problems in agriculture is treating our manure like waste, and our soil we call dirt. And actually they should be called black gold or something, okay? It's beautiful material. The thing is, the weakling on our farms in America is not, technology, it's not breeding, it's not financial, it's not geographic area. The weakling on all of our farms is our own, it's between our ears. It's the cleverness to innovate and access resources that we already have. Now, when the pigs are all done, then it's all like some fluffy compost, and we pull it out. We add some green sand and some Planters 2 trace mineral to it, some wood ashes if we have them, and as mineral, and then it goes back out of the soil. Once the soil has warmed up in the spring enough to have the Acinetobacter, the gibberellins, and the Actinomycetes, and the mycorrhizae, and all these things to be awake enough in the spring to eat them. And then we throw poultry netting around that area. If you're going to have infrastructure, let's not just let it sit idle. Let's figure out a complementary income stream to move through it. And so we throw poultry netting up around there, and we can grow chickens ready to lay non-hybrid, old traditional American varieties of full beef, non-vaccinated, for backyard poultry flocks, for all the silver cubicle refugees that are fleeing to the countryside, building urban mansions on farm. And what are they looking for? Well, they're looking for some chickens. That's a lot easier to do than cows. And so we provide those chickens for those people and sell $10,000 to $20,000 worth of chickens, just ready to lay bullets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we even have families that buy them in the spring and bring them back in the fall. Kind of a rid of chicken deal. But we're just in there to meet the needs of people. All right. And so the pigs are in there, the chickens are in there, and the cows are in there, but they're in there at different times of the season of the year, and this creates pathogen cul-de-sacs, what I call confused pathogens. Confused pathogens, that's a good thing, right? One of the problems in industrial agriculture is when you have crowded, single species, 24/7, 365 conditions, you have an incubator for pathogenicity because they don't have to put any time or effort or energy into survival. All they have to figure out is how to become more virulent because the host is always there. But when we rotate hosts through an area, since 98% of all pathogens are species specific, we can break down that virulent cycle and create a non-virulent approach, kind of what I call a pathogen cul-de-sac. Now, when the pigs get done, then they go out into pig pastures. And these are roughly 1/4 to 1/2 acre pig pastures with a salad bar. They do get, because they're omnivores, they get local GMO-free grain. We don't use any genetically modified organisms feed. We get it locally there from local farmers. And when they eat that feeder full, they go into the next patch. That becomes a constant so that we create the right amount of disturbance to move the succession of the species of the forages forward. You can see here the electric fence. See a wooden gate there, just for those of you who are thinking about raising pigs. We do have one physical gate in each paddock because the pigs are so smart, even when you take the electric fence down, they don't want to go across. They're smart, but they don't realize, oh, the wire's gone. All they remember is the shock.